What's going on, everyone? So today I got a little bit of a fun and unique one. So I am just wrapping up our 4-round Swiss tournament where myself and one of my patrons are in the finals. So we're going to be showcasing the finals match. I'm going to be recording it and playing it out for you here in just a little bit. But this is just a sneak peek into some of the stuff that we're doing on Patreon. And I figured I'd share this one because, well, I'm going to be playing this as I have been kind of playing a lot of Palp Yellow since this is the deck I entered into our little tournament. Quite a bit over the past couple of weeks preparing for this, and not necessarily like practicing hardcore, but certainly when I do have time, I am running in some games. So definitely some practice. And it's been a lot of fun, absolutely a blast to play in an event where at least everyone somewhat cares about the results. I'm sure a lot of you feel that way as well. And we're all playing online. So between Carabas and Tabletop Simulator, we're going to jump into the games. But first, I want to run through what we're doing here with Palp Yellow. You might have seen this list in the past, but just a brief overview so you guys kind of know what to expect. And we are playing a best of 3, so this is sideboard included. But a big thank you to my patrons for making this even possible, right? We wouldn't be able to run tournaments like this, and I'll showcase kind of the results of the tournament at the end of it. We wouldn't be able to run something like this if you all hadn't been participating, so absolutely a big thank you to them. Palpatine Yellow, guys, this is pretty sweet. We are playing basically a mix of Palpatine lists that already exist. I'm not creating anything new. I'm just playing a solid Palpatine Yellow list. The list is all about just ramping early with Super Laser Technician and resupplies, and using your Darth Vaders, your Mauls, your Reinforcement Walkers, and your Devastators to win. You have a little bit of a Separatist package in the Confederate Courier, Poggle, and Droid Commando. Droid Commando is really nice on turn 2 if you do have a Separatist to ambush in, to kill something, or just later on in the game, if you happen to have a Confederate Courier or Poggle out and you get to Darth Vader, you could potentially have another ambusher in there. Poggle also counts as an official for the Emperor's Royal Guard. The P-38's in there as a high value space unit, and everything else is just there to disrupt your opponent. You got Frozen Carbonites to exhaust things, Waylays to bounce, No Good to Me Deads to stall, Overwhelming Barrage to remove things, Change of Hearts on 7 resources, essentially just take your unit and kill it and draw a card. And in some cases, it can be take your unit, attack your other unit, kill that unit, then sacrifice it to draw a card, which is absolutely insane. But really, we're just playing big things to finish out the game. And that's a classic with Palpatine. Our matchup today is up against Anakin Blue. And I've played a little bit of matches. I don't think our opponent is in a good spot. Palpatine Yellow, all about getting ramped down and then playing out these big units. And with No Good to Me Deads, for example, we're able to exhaust the big threat in Anakin. We've got Overwhelming Barrages to deal with it. We can deal with a lot of their smaller units. He can't make any value trades in the early game with his action because we don't care about our units in the early game. And I think we're just going to outvalue him later on in the game. There are Crate Dragons that we got to worry about, I imagine. And maybe some hand disruption, but we will see. I'm sure Crate Dragons are one of those things that if we deploy Palpatine too early, that could be a risk. But I think actually just sealing anything, as soon as we get Palpatine down, I feel as long as we are not super close to dying, we are in a really good spot. In terms of sideboard, what do we got? We've got 2 Scanning Officers. This is amazing against Han Yellow, which I had not fought in the tournament, so we haven't been able to use them. Traitorous, anything or any deck that's running a couple of upgrades or good, powerful 3 resource plays, or in the case of Super Laser Technician, love Traitorous. Palpatine's Return, this is the thing that I think might come in. I'm not actually sure, but Palpatine's Return is a nice high-value late-game card and can rebuy things like Vaders or Reinforcement Walkers. And with Pillages, we could potentially bring that in, but honestly, I think our main deck is pretty good for this. Cad Bane, nice little end-game kind of value board stabilizer into, Overwhelming Barrage. That can be absolutely amazing. Relentless, I don't think this is going to come in either. I don't think there's a lot of events that we really care about. So Relentless is probably going to be off the board. So I don't know if we're actually going to be doing all that much sideboarding. I think the biggest thing would be maybe we bring in Palpatine's Returns, but I don't even know if that's necessarily worthwhile. I think that our main deck is actually pretty good against what Anakin's got going on. So let's dive into our first games and see what we got today, huh? All right, and we are into our first game, and let's go ahead and resource. Let's get rid of this Cad Bane and probably this Droid Commando to start us off. Anakin Blue. This is pretty exciting. I'm going to start off with the Confederate Courier. I don't mind this start against the A-Wing, because technically over the course of 2 turns, that will be able to trade. Ooh, there's a resupply. Okay. Kind of interesting. Do I resource the resupply or just the waylay? I'm kind of leaning towards the waylay. Our opponent's going to want to put on a pressure to us if they have the ability to do so. So let's just go ahead and play out Super Laser Technician first, just to see if they maybe will have some sort of perilous position, huh? Okay, so let's go ahead and claim initiative. I was thinking like maybe they'll have some sort of thing to interact that maybe they'll use that instead, which they did, which is exactly kind of where I want to be. So let's go ahead and I think we just Super Laser Technician a second time. So we'll attack with the Super Laser Technician. I will defeat this to go ahead and hit the A-Wing for 1. Then we will just go ahead and play another Super Laser Technician. And there's a force throw, huh? So let's go ahead and force throw probably this other resupply is what I'm guessing. And I'll just go ahead and attack in to get rid of that shield token off of the village protectors. And now we will go ahead and pass. Cloud Rider can be pretty good. I'm thinking we're going to go Change of Heart plus defeat it is what my goal here I think will be. Let's go ahead and find out what they'll have though. You know what? I think instead I will just go with the let's kill both of your units here with a overwhelming barrage just to avoid as much damage as possible. And that's a restored arc. So let's go ahead and attack in for 4. They're going to claim initiative. We are going to defeat that Super Laser Technician just to draw a card and get a resource. And that's pass. Another Change of Heart looking pretty decent. I want the No Good to Me dead. I actually think I want both Change of Hearts here. Yeah, let's just go ahead and deploy the Palp. I think just getting down Palpatine and taking a unit is actually just really good here. We have 2 more resources than them. We have double Change of Heart. So yeah, they can go ahead and do this. And I think we will just go ahead and get down a Maul. No ambush, but now we are massively far ahead of them because if they do deploy Anakin, their Anakin will die from a single attack of the Maul. Ooh, they have a Jedi lightsaber. That is pretty strong, no doubt about it. That is about as ideal as it gets, realistically. Let's go Confederate Courier into the resource pile, and I will go No Good to Me dead on the Anakin. So that's about as good as it gets, right? So well done for my opponent there. Let's go ahead and attack in with this. Restore some HP here. Perilous position on the Palp. That's totally fine. Let's go ahead and I can't really Change of Heart anything, huh? Let's go Bazine. They have a Kanan. We'll pass on doing anything to the Kanan. Let's go Confederate Courier. And the reason why I'm not too scared why I didn't go Change of Heart is I'd rather get a lot of units down. Palpatine is currently really small, but Anakin's not going to ready up, and we do have a Devastator, and Devastator is going to do some pretty big work here, I believe. So they have a Kanan. They could have resourced it. They did resource something. So let's go ahead and just start off with an attack into their Razor Crest for 2. I do have that Devastator, as I mentioned, which can look pretty good. That's totally fine. They're going to go with an attack there. I think here we will just hit in for 1. And we will... Do I want to Change of Heart this and then sacrifice it? Or do I want to Change of Heart it next turn? I think we'll go Devastator, kill the Anakin. Attack into the base. We will destroy the battle droid just to deal 1 here to the Kanan. And then we'll pass. Another Bazine. We will have to see what they've got here, but we are in a pretty decent position. Change of Heart looks pretty good here. I think in this spot, I will just go ahead and overwhelm through the Razor Crest just to get rid of it. Change of Heart essentially kills anything right now, which is pretty nice. Let's go ahead and play a P-38 just to deal 1 to the Village Protectors. We can still go with a Change of Heart here, and that's probably going to be game. Because what we can do is Change of Heart the Kanan, and then we can go ahead and attack for 1, and then attack into the village protectors, destroy this, deal another one to draw a card, and then we'll play a Poggle. And now, I mean, we have the complete board domination. We have another change of heart. So even if they have like a Crate Dragon, for example, we are pretty much in a good spot. They can Perilous Position the Devastator, but I don't know if that's really going to do a whole lot. Let's go ahead and play a Super Laser Technician, create a Battle Droid token just to see what they're going to do. They got a Sabine. That puts us in a pretty good spot because we will just go ahead and ambush it with a Cloud Rider, and then we will attack. I will destroy a Battle Droid token, and then we will go ahead, play, I suppose, a Poggle, and pass. I'm trolling. I played a Poggle when I had a Poggle. Whoops. Not very good ending situation here, but I don't really know of any way that they could do anything to really come back in this game. This is a pretty awesome matchup for us, I'd say, generally speaking, and that's going to be game 1. So let's go ahead and get in a rematch with Paladin here. I think I am favored in this matchup, which is unfortunate, just because of really Anakin. What he wants to be doing is getting these units down and trading up in value in the early game, and then using Anakin as a big finisher. But no Good to Me Dead really prevents that. And of course, we have a lot of things just immediately kill whatever is coming in. As such, I think what we want to do is, do I want to get rid of the Cloud Riders? I think so. And I think I want to go in with, I don't know if I really want Traitorous or if I want Palpatine's Return. I don't really like the Cloud Riders all that much, although they could have Sabines. Maybe we just run it back because we're pretty favored already. Maybe it's the Royal Guard that I don't really want because I want to be resupplying and Super Laser Technicianing on turn 2. So maybe instead of the Royal Guards, I go with the Palpatine's Return, because then we can play that like endgame value engine by bringing back the Reinforcement Walkers, which I like. Traitorous, I can steal Village Protectors and things like that, but I don't think I don't think that's really going to be what we want to do. So our opponent has initiative. We're going to mulligan this hand. We're looking for one with, there you go, a Super Laser Technician is perfect. And we'll resource a Palpatine's Return and a Change of Heart. Keep it nice and cheap. We will go with a Poggle here, and we'll see if our opponent decides to go ahead and attack our Poggle. I'd actually be really happy if they decided to do that. They could use the action to defeat Poggle, but what that allows us to do is go ahead and kill the Sabine and not take any damage, really, with a Super Laser Technician, assuming they don't play like a Village Protectors this turn. Looks like they've got a Yoda, which is great. That's exactly kind of what I wanted to see. Let's go ahead and probably just resource the Poggle, or is it Droid Commando? Yeah, probably Poggle here. Because what we're going to do is get down this Bosk. So let's go ahead and ambush and hit the Yoda. So now we've cleared the board. They've gotten a couple damage in. We are not kind of in a situation where any space units can come down. If they have like a takedown or something, that could absolutely kill a Bosk. But right now we're in a pretty good spot. Okay, I think I will just go ahead and get rid of potentially the P. Actually, it's a Droid Commando that I want to get rid of. Yeah, I think so. Let's go ahead and go Bosk. Attack into their base here. I think we could take a hit. Let's go P-38 on the Kanan. And let's see if they have a unit to get down Village Protectors, huh? Okay, let's go ahead and claim initiative. And let's resource this Poggle again. So now we're in a great spot because what we can do is Overwhelming Barrage away their 2 units. Anakin can come down, but then we will also have No Good to Me Dead to exhaust him. So we're just going to go ahead and hit these 2 units. We can do 1 to Village Protectors, 5 to this unit, and then 2 damage to Village Protectors, just killing off their entire board, essentially. And now, I mean, they don't really have that many options, because what can happen is they can Perilous Position away, potentially the Village Protectors. But I don't really know if that's what we care for. We're going to pass here just in case they have something to deploy Anakin. They're going to take initiative. Okay, so we've got Bosk. They can go ahead and kill it, but Bosk has already generated so much value for us here. Don't really mind seeing him go at this point. Let's just go ahead and... I think we will just go ahead and get down. We're going to No Good to Me dead and deal 2 damage to Obi-Wan so that we can steal it with Palpatine. And this is going to give us a Sentinel, and it's going to prevent our boss from dying. And we're basically just going to be winning the game at this point. I don't know if our opponent really has anything to do. I think this is a really bad matchup, to be honest, for our opponent. They can go ahead and kill. We can give 2 experience to Palpatine, which is going to be an absolute nightmare, to be honest, for him. And what we'll do here is just play out the Confederate Courier. And then we will attack, defeating the P-38, deal 1 damage to this. And then we can deal 1 damage to Anakin. And then we can droid commando, ambush, kill Anakin, and attack for 2. And that's going to put us in basically an unlosable position, right? We have reinforcement walkers, we've got Darth Vaders, we've got droid commandos. I mean, there is very little our opponent can do at this point. They could play a Luke and kill off Bosk, but now our Palpatine's a 6'10", which is pretty obnoxious to deal with. This is just a rough matchup for our opponent. We can get a Darth Vader down, but I think I'm just going to go Reinforcement Walker and then heal. I think that's just the safest play to do. We will go ahead and kill the Poe Dameron. Don't destroy anything, not necessary. And I don't even know if I attack the A-Wing. I think I'm just going to get this game over with. So ignore the A-Wing. We got Frozen in Carbonite and a Waylay. We have another Reinforcement Walker. We're going to be healing potentially 6 every turn. They could have like a Crate Dragon, but Crate Dragon gets waylaid, and I don't think they can recover from that either. I think this is going to be a pretty rough game. So we're going to go ahead and not draw Super Laser. We're just going to be healing. Don't really care about anything else. They've played an Obi-Wan. Let's go ahead and just waylay this back, deal 2 to the A-Wing. I mean, Bosk is still down, and what can they do, really? We just attack. And then I guess we'll play Vader. It doesn't really matter. We'll grab Bazine, which is kind of exactly what we want. They've got nothing that can deal with anything. So, yeah, they have a Sentinel, but, I mean, we have multiple ways to deal with that, right? So, Luke comes down. We attack in, and we don't need to draw anything, and that's going to be GG. So, pretty quick games. But I honestly, based on what I saw here, there was nothing really that could have been done differently. I mean, it was just completely Palpatine favored, really. All right, so as you saw, we ended up pulling out the win, which was pretty fun. Absolutely had a blast, as I said. I don't think Anakin Blue really had a good shot. I was talking with Paladin afterwards about kind of what the options were, and I think really the only options were like to get an insane combination of hand disruption or really an amazing late game without me having like change of hearts or things like that. It's kind of just like a really poor matchup. But I wanted to go over the tournament a little bit just to kind of give you guys some insight on what ended up happening. I will say my 4-0 was not 100% true, and I'll talk about that because I want to give credit where credit is due. In round 1, we had 16 players to start us off, which is why we had the 4-round Swiss to get a singular winner, because I'll be passing out, I'm not decided yet, but some rewards, hopefully. And we also had a bunch of different decks, right? Not too much meta. I would say a lot of it was like tier 1.5 type decks, where just under what I consider the meta to be, and then a lot of kind of random stuff. I think Palp Yellow's in that sort of situation. We did have a Han Yellow and we did have a Cad Red. Where was Cad Red? I don't actually remember. Cad Red, which I think are probably, or 2 Cad Reds, which I think are probably the best of the ones that we had. Following that up, we had Anakin Blues, Palp Yellows, which I think are just underneath that. Ray Red as well in there. And Boss Green also probably in that list as well. So not too much like insane meta. We ended up picking up the first win in our round 1 matchup. We were up against Boss Green. This was actually a pretty tough matchup. Not like tough matchup in general, but probably the toughest out of the ones that we faced, because if Boss gets set up in the early game and ramps to Crate Dragon, he could potentially ramp into a situation where they've got Crate Dragon on like, turn 5, and we don't have enough ramp to compete with that in some cases. Not often, but it definitely can definitely happen. Took that one down. Into our second round, we ended up fighting up against a Cad Bane Red. This one, we actually went 2-1. So this was pretty tough, to be honest. Our Cad Bane Red really ran us down. I think it was in game 2. Post sideboard, they were on the initiative, and I think they played really well in terms of analyzing that they are the aggressors in this matchup, and they did not pass a single turn to try to get Cad Bane value. I think that's really important, especially in a matchup where you are the aggressor. Into round number 3, we ended up against Han Blue. Now, this is where I say our 4-0 was not 100% because as this tournament was being played out, we ended up playing out matches throughout the week as much as people could get time in for. And so this made it so that we had like 2 to 3 days to get in our round, submit our results, and then progress on the tournament. That way it's as convenient as possible for as many people as possible. And in this case, we just couldn't get together. And so I initially conceded, and my opponent was like, no, you take the win, you keep going on. So big shout out to Darth Nord there for saying all of that. So I ended up, okay, well, I'm not going to argue. Let's just continue on with the tournament. So big shout out to him, and we ended up in a 3-0. So this one, again, everyone else played out their normal matches as normal. I think between round 2 and round 3, we had a couple of people drop 2 to be exact, just because of life circumstances and things that are happening. And then round 4, as you all saw, we have Anakin Blue versus the Palp Yellow. We haven't had everyone finish out their matches, but I will be keeping track of all that as, well, I am keeping track of every single match score and game score because I'm creating a little point system for everyone to pass out rewards. So you might see shout outs, you might see unique videos being popped up because all of the people, maybe they cashed in some of their rewards, or maybe just, shipping out signed product. I think that could be pretty fun as well. And so this is kind of just like the first iteration. As you can see, Open Zero, we just started doing this, and it's been a ton of fun. I cannot iterate that enough. Every single person that participated here, even the 2 that were unable to finish out the tournament, huge thank you, because this is, again, I had a ton of fun. I'm sure a lot of people did. And I feel kind of awkward because I'm like, well, maybe I should just not participate in the next one. But, I just happen to get fortunate enough to have some good matchups. And, we ended up winning. But I think it was pretty close. And I think definitely a lot of people had some chance. I think the person who came closest to beating me in a 3-game series was definitely the Cad Bane Red. I think it was pretty close. So that was pretty cool. And anything different could have happened, right? I could have found myself up against the Han Yellow. And that's one thing that I wanted to say about the Palpatine Yellow was I was thinking it was going to be like a tier 1.5, tier 2 deck, something that's competitive, but not something that's going to be like overwhelming, because I didn't really want to play like Sabine or Han. But because there was not many Sabines and Hans, I think my deck actually ended up being the deck to beat, because Han Yellow is one of the decks that really do well against Palp Yellow, and so does Sabine. And so without those, I ended up being in a really good spot. If I had found myself up against a Han Yellow early on, or maybe a Sabine Green, if we had any, that could have definitely shifted the dynamic of this whole tournament, for me at least. So really awesome, amazing experience. And we're going to be starting our new one as soon as I get some feedback from all the patrons. But I figured I'd give you all here on YouTube a little bit of a peek into what goes on, and just kind of share, because I'm having some fun with the tournament. So let me know if you want to see more kind of videos like this, where you guys get to see some of the finishings of the tournament, or maybe even just future rounds, like just random rounds where I play out the best of 3 for you all, because for the videos, I generally only play the best of 1s because it's Carabast. And so we don't get to see sideboarding all that much, or like a discussion about the matchup necessarily as in depth, because we're in, we're out. But this was a little bit different because, well, actually we didn't really sideboard. I actually don't remember. It's been like 40 minutes since I played that game. I was trying to remember if I had put in the Palpatine's returns, but not minimal sideboarding for at least that matchup, but it was still a blast. So thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you all for the next one.